They should go to work. Should they not? I mean, they got elected to represent people in Texas, not
so
people in
Congress.
Illinois.
Why did they abandon the House to not vote on these Epstein files?
It's the August recess.
Oh,
and if you're comparing these
it was
two,
not the August
once again,
recess.
you're showing just how dishonest you're willing to be. The reality is, they got elected. They got elected to go to work in the Texas state capitol. They've left the state. They're abandoning their constituents, and if they want to go vote against the map, that's fine. But running off to Illinois, the most gerrymandered state in the country, I mean, I understand no one in the PR department at the Texas House Democratic Conference must have been at work that day, but it looks horrific for them.
Hey folks, buckle up, we've got a political drama straight out of Texas. A wave of Democratic lawmakers just packed their bags and skipped town. And it's not for a vacation. They bolted to dodge a vote on a hot-button redistricting bill, and the fallout's been explosive. Critics like GOP strategist Scott Jennings are unloading on them, accusing the group of walking out on their responsibilities and leaving voters high and dry.
And I want to speak to this because, in full disclosure, my sister was one of the people who fled to Illinois, who's a state representative in Austin. And what I will say about that is that they had to flee. They don't have control.
Had to flee?
Let me tell you, they don't have control of the House or the Senate or the governor's mansion or anything in Texas. But what I will say is that Republicans are trying to take away districts and on the backs of Latino and African American voters in the state. And there are several districts in South Texas where I was born and raised on the border, Houston, Austin, where they are trying to dilute the Latino vote and trying to kick out people like Greg Casar and the representative Sylvia Garcia from Houston. And these are elected leaders that were picked by Latino voters. And so, yes, I think it is right for the Texas legislators to get up and go. This is not the only reason they're doing this is for political purposes. And Trump has said himself over and over and over that he is only doing this because he wants to pick up seats for the midterm elections. He's not doing this
so you get elected to represent people in Texas, and your reaction to that is to go to Illinois and hide behind J.B. Pritzker?
They're breaking quorum. That's what they're doing. They're breaking quorum because it is not right.
At a minimum, it's childish, and it might be criminal.
Well, you know what's childish and criminal? It is Abbott, who is going against the will of the voters by redistricting, not based on census data, but based on Donald Trump's will, in order to gain more seats because Donald Trump is scared about losing the House of Representatives because of higher.
Supporters of the Texas Democrats insist their decision to leave the state wasn't a stunt, but a stand. They argue it was the only way to block what they view as an unfair political maneuver. The issue at the center of the drama is redistricting, the process of redrawing district boundaries every 10 years after new census data is released. While it may sound routine, redistricting is often a high-stakes political chess game that can determine which party holds power for years to come. Democrats accuse Republicans of trying to gerrymander the maps to their advantage, reshaping districts to lock in political dominance. Think of it like a sports team changing the size of the field mid-game whenever they're losing. Not everyone is impressed with the walkout. Conservative commentator Scott Jennings accused the Democrats of abandoning their responsibilities and betraying the voters who elected them. Whether it's a courageous stand for democracy or a political field trip gone too far, one thing is certain: the Texas showdown is far from over.
Scott just mentioned the August recess. Republicans left not in August, they left in July. They left several weeks early. You could laugh and smirk. Yes, they did, Scott.
Several weeks? It's a lie.
It's not, Scott, it's not a lie, actually. You said August recess, they left in July. And they left in July, and they said they left in July because they didn't want to vote on the Epstein matter. They didn't want to vote to release the Epstein file. And so now you're saying the senators and the reps down in Texas have to do their job. Because what are they scared of? But what are you guys scared of in terms of staying in Washington? What's the difference?
Do you think, you're a Democrat,
in California, an independent commission. Democrats would prefer a fair process and an independent commission.
So,
no, it is.
It's not in California. Republicans get about 40% of the vote, and they have 17% of the congressional seats. So, not a great example. But number two, if it's rigging the election, that's your words. In Texas, is it going to be rigging the election when all these Democrats who say they're going to gerrymander in the other state, are you also going to argue that they're rigging the election or just in Texas?
Yes,
have the elections been rigged in Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Maryland, New Mexico, Hawaii, Oregon, Washington, and Rhode Island? Have they been rigged there as well? Because there, the proportion of Republican vote comes nowhere near what they have in Congress.
They did a normal redistricting process. If states end up going and calling special sessions and doing all of these things to try to gain seats. I agree. I don't agree with that. Do I think they need to do it?
According to Scott Jennings, the Texas Democrats didn't just avoid the fight, they cut and run. Ouch. In his view, this isn't just about Texas politics, it's a calculated move to make a statement on the national stage. Critics like Jennings argue that walking out isn't just neglecting their duties, it sets a troubling precedent. If lawmakers can flee whenever a vote gets contentious, what does that say about legislative accountability? Where's the line? And what happens to governance when elected officials decide that showing up is optional? On the other side, Democrats insist their walkout was a last resort move, the only way to shine a national spotlight on what they call an undemocratic power grab. They frame it as standing in solidarity with minority communities whose voting strength they believe would be weakened by the proposed redistricting maps. Critics may call it a stunt, but supporters see it as a stand for fairness. Proponents of the redistricting plan, meanwhile, argue that it's legally sound, constitutionally required and necessary to reflect demographic shifts accurately. But for many in minority communities, the reality feels different. To them, this fight isn't just about political boundaries, it's about their voices, their representation, and their future influence in decisions affecting schools, healthcare, infrastructure, and public safety. Adding another layer of irony, the lawmakers chose Illinois as their temporary refuge, a state infamous for its own gerrymandering controversies. Critics are quick to pounce on the contradiction, but supporters argue that the point wasn't to pick a perfect safe haven, but to make a national statement. Whether you see it as a bold stand for democracy or an abdication of duty, one thing's certain: the Texas Democrats have ignited a nationwide debate. But what about you? Was this a necessary act of protest, or a political walkout gone too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments.